ANC chairperson Gwede Mantashe says that the names of the party's members of parliament who voted in favour of the Phala Phala report will be given to the National Executive Committee, which will decide what action to take. Yet another party MP, Ronald Lamola, says what happened in the National Assembly yesterday is proof that the ANC does not threaten anyone. A total of 214 MPs voted against the report. Let's discuss this further then. Now we're joined by the KwaZulu-Natal ANC Provincial Secretary, Mr. Bheki Mtolo. Great pleasure having you here in studio with us. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your viewers.
All right, let's start here. What is KZN's position then when it comes to party leaders who fail to toe the party line, so to speak, in Parliament? Are you of the view that they should indeed be disciplined, as some have been kind of alluding to?
It's a very unfortunate situation that has happened, which is happening it for the second time, by the way. Since democracy in 1994, it was the first time in 2017 when we saw a huge number of MPs. Some of them were leaders, Comrade Kungubele, Pravin Gordhan, Derek Aneko, were sitting in the NEC going out and say they would support a motion of no confidence against the then head of state and the president of the ANC, Comrade Jacob Zuma, and they did that and they confirmed they did it. Yeah. And then surprisingly there were no consequences. And then, but what was the more surprise is that after President Ramaphosa was elected, he rewarded some of them with ministerial posts, which is a highest honor. I think what happened yesterday is the continuation of that anarchy that was started in 2017. But I think the NEC ought to reflect on that and ought to bring it to a stop, because every member of the ANC that serves in the government serves at the behest of the ANC. Then you occupy the seat on behalf of the ANC, and we are firm on that anybody who defy a party line, of course, there must be consequences. Yeah. The challenge about a party that is big than the ANC, when it's convenient, you disregard discipline. That's what happens. Because somebody will do this and say, if Derek can do, if Kungubele can do and be awarded a ministerial post and Pravin Gordhan, I can also do it. But it has to come to a complete stop. Yeah. Because the challenge we are having, particularly as KZN, is that currently in the KZN, there are a lot of councillors who don't take the party line. How are we going to tell those councillors to take the party line? Because they say, no, this is done. If Mam Kosazana can do that, having served in the ANC for more than 30 years, has been in the NEC from before some of them were born. Yeah. Then if he can do it, then you can't tell us, it means this thing is done.
What's to be said then about, what you're alluding to, which is, the sort of narrative change, or I'll actually call it the sort of double standards. I mean, before, in fact, MPs were encouraged to vote against party lines, as you rightly say, when it was President Jacob Zuma at the helm, and now, there's kind of a different stance on the issue, a different narrative. You're saying something needs to be done about that. What is that something, and what do you make of the fact that there is this, what I'm calling double standards?
The ANC must appreciate that what happened in 2017 to start to undermine a party line is going to give us problems going forward. It's going to make the ANC, because this thing is demanded only in the ANC. There's no party, even Democratic Alliance, even the most, what you call liberal parties, they instill discipline. Because why they instill discipline? Because the political party system of South Africa is that political parties contest elections, and they win elections. IEC goes to a party and say, Party A, you have won 30 seats. Then give us people who will occupy those seats on your behalf. Meaning the seats belong to a party. Then the party decides how those seats should be utilized and should vote in Parliament. Then if you are occupying a seat, you are not occupying a seat, it's only now when the Constitutional Court said we can allow independent candidates. If it happens in 2024, then an independent candidate accounts to himself and his wife and his husband, or his boyfriend and his girlfriend. But a party representatives account to the party, get control from the party. It's not a free rider.
Yeah, let's talk about the conference coming up in a few days. And I want to talk specifically about, readiness from KZN. You've certainly thrown your weight behind Dr. Zweli Mkhize. How confident is KZN about where they sort of stand going into that conference then in a few days' time?
No, we're confident that our view and our perspective, of course, we're working very hard for it to emerge. But remember, this is a very big conference. It's got 4,519 voting delegates. Many things have happened from the day we pronounced, many things have happened from BGMs. Then there are a lot of lobbying. Even today I was here in Gauteng, I've met a lot of people. Then we are meeting people and we are meeting delegates. We are now focusing on delegates, people who got voting power at the conference. Anything can change, but we are not going to compromise on the issue of the presidential candidate. And it's not true that KZN only put a weight behind Zweli Mkhize. We've put a weight behind Zweli Mkhize for Paul, Stanley, in Limpopo. Then we didn't only focus on someone come from KZN.
Yeah, you say that anything can change, and what are those things that are up in the air that can change for those with the voting power, for those delegates? I mean, there's been so much going on in the news, and I wonder if it does affect how those that have the power will ultimately vote. I mean, I just had, for instance, Tony Yengeni, an NEC member here in studio the last hour, and we get news today that he's actually no longer suspended. He's now eligible again to stand. There's so many issues and so many moving issues within as we go into this conference, and I wonder how much they affect those who will certainly be sitting down to vote.
No, it doesn't affect them. Delegates of the ANC, they know what they want. But of course, at the conference, they are given a chance to weigh options and take decisions that the best interest of the ANC.
Yeah.
You see, you look at issues of, for example, experience, issues of track record, issues of seniority, issues of a generational mix, meaning there must be generations in the organization. You also look at issues of skills and capacity. You also look at issues of geographical spread, but also at certain people that they will command a certain high respect on certain constituencies that are fundamentally for the ANC to mobilize those constituencies. Then once you look at all those things, you find that, okay, we may have agreed that candidate so-and-so must be here, but we think is strong there, we may put in there. Then there's a lot of things that happen. But what is important is that after the conference, we all take the march from the elected leadership, and then
I think I might have posed my question a bit too broadly for you. Let me go direct. The issue of Phala Phala, there's been in the news and a lot of talk around Phala Phala issue. Would that directly or indirectly affect delegates on the way that they would be voting going into the conference?
I think we must not create chaos unnecessarily. What is important is that we are going to a conference. Very few people, I explained this to one newsroom I think a day ago, that the term of the National Executive Committee led by President Ramaphosa ends on at least on Saturday. It ends, it finishes. Then there's a time in the ANC processes that an electoral commission will come and say, now National Executive Committee term is ended, then they are dissolved. When they are dissolved, they then open space for 86 seats in the NEC, starting with the officials. Then when you then put somebody there, you put somebody new. Even Ramaphosa will be contesting an empty seat, not a seat that he occupies. He won't be occupying a seat. He will be occupying an empty seat. Then delegates of the ANC, they will use what they think is best for the ANC to put that candidate, of which those ones from KZ and majority of branches, they believe that because of the track record of Dr. Zweli Mkhize, while he was a provincial chairperson of the ANC, he grew up the membership of the ANC with more than 100%. He led one of the most effective provincial governments while he was a premier, but he also, at a very young age, he contributed a lot in terms of stabilizing issues of violence in KwaZulu-Natal. He's got a track record, but also in the country. He has been serving in the NEC of the ANC, by the way, from 2002, Stellenbosch Conference. He was elected. While he was serving as the deputy chair of Ndebele, he was directly elected as a deputy chair of the ANC. Then he took over as a chair. Then it's a transition. And then it's also done well in government, in various portfolios, even at national government.
You see, I wasn't wrong in saying you've thrown your weight behind Dr. Zweli Mkhize. But thanks very much for giving us your time here on SABC News. So we certainly do appreciate it. Mr. Bheki Mtolo, who's the KwaZulu-Natal ANC provincial secretary there, speaking to us on a number of issues, as of course it is just a couple of days to the conference, which is set to begin in Nasrec. We'll certainly bring you all that action live here on SABC News.